Hi everyone, it's Wendy from Wendy Patterson Art, and today I'm bringing you another unboxing of the Two Sisters art sampler. Let's have a look and see what's inside. In this month's box we have got a great range of alcohol ink products. So to start with, we have got some small tools, we have got some cotton buds, we have got some little tubes that we can actually blow the ink around on the page, and we've also got some fine alcohol ink blending points, and they will become really handy. We've also got some droppers that we can actually utilise. Another little bottle to put either some alcohol ink or other blending solutions in there. A little cup, our tag. We've also got the actual alcohol inks. You're going to receive 3 different types. These are pearlized alcohol inks. I love the colours they've got. Seem to have a brilliant sheen to them. I've got a gold, a pink sherbet, and a pool. You'll have to give, because they've got a bit of metallic, pearly base in them, you'll just need to give them a good shake before you actually start using those. The other important thing is that we have got some blending solution, alcohol ink blending solution. I'll give some hints that if you haven't got some of these products, of other things that we can actually utilise well. In the package we also have some Yopo paper. Now this is a synthetic paper. It is recyclable for anyone that has any concerns. It is a polymer based synthetic paper. It's resistant to buckling, it dries really quickly, and it's a non-absorbent. It's ultra smooth, so it's basically like a sheet of plastic, which allows us to work really well with the alcohol inks on top of it. So the alcohol's not absorbed, but it just moves over to the surface. It takes a little while sometimes to dry, but using a heat gun will help that process along. The other thing that we have in our box, now this is a signed vinyl sheet of black paper. It is basically a big sticker, so we'll be able to take that off after we've got the alcohol on it, maybe cut out some shapes, and just stick that onto different areas, maybe onto a front cover of a journal book. The other thing that Tanya's also included is just a white tile. These are great. I've seen some projects with the alcohol inks and then using those as coasters, so we can do some great projects with this. So I hope you enjoy this package. We're going to have a lot of fun. We'll get in and do some playtime. Okay, before we get started, I'm just going to give you a couple of little hints that you can actually utilise during this project. One, because of how much bleeding and how messy alcohol inks can actually get, is make sure that you've got a backing sheet down on your surface. Now I've just got my craft sheet, which is a synthetic plastic sheet, and that's going to protect my table. Otherwise, if you are working on a wood surface, kitchen table, it will bleed in and you won't be able to get that alcohol or the alcohol inks out of there. The other little hint is that if you're concerned about colours on your hands, if you get ink on your hands, they are going to stain, so you can use gloves. Have a paper towel close by as well. If you do get a little bit of ink onto another surface and you want to clean it up, rather than you can use the blending solution to wipe it up, but if you actually use a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and that'll actually help. So you can use the rubbing alcohol in substitute for the blending solution if you don't have blending solution, but everyone that's got the box from Two Sisters will have that in there as well. The other important factor is to make sure that you're going to be doing this in a well ventilated area. The inks are high with fumes, they are flammable, so just make sure that you're keeping away from open flames when using these as well. Okay, and we're going to have some playtime. If you hear a few noises in the background, everyone's at home detention with me, so it could get a little bit noisy here and there. So the alcohol inks will move around on the paper, so I'm going to put some drops down to start with. So as you can see, as I'm dropping down, they're just moving out on that paper. Because of being the Yopo paper, it's that sheer plastic, ultra smooth, and it just moves out. Now if I have my little tag, I'll show you the difference when it's not on Yopo paper. It must have been something just on the edge of that paper, it's come up in a funny shape. So you can see there that while it's still bleeding out, it's going straight through that paper. So we can still probably create some cool images on our tags, but it's just not going to be as effective as what is on a Yopo paper. The other thing I like about this surface too is that you can allow it to run down, just creating different puddles. I hope everyone's been really well during this period of time. It's been a bit different throughout the world. I think in Australia we've been pretty lucky with the way that we have responded to COVID. So I'm just going to drop this in the middle, and you see it's just pushing those colours out. That gold's really pretty. I'm just going to put then a drop of that blue in the middle of there as well. Oh, that's cool. So I'm just going to, with one of the straws, I'm just going to blow this around a bit. Just moves that around. Okay. So once the ink is down, it's harder to move. But if we then take the alcohol ink, I'll show you the difference now, is that we're going to put a few little drops of that blending solution down. It actually pulls that gold up off the paper. You can see there how that moves just a little bit further. So I'm going to put a bit of my blending solution, a couple of drops in here. So when we get into some finer work, if you feel that, well, this is just bled on the corner, I wanted it to have a straight corner, just put a little bit of the alcohol blending solution just down into your cup, and you can actually just take around those edges off, so you can take a bit away. Now you can't take a huge amount off, but it will help you shape some of those corners. So that's, the cotton buds are really good for doing that. Okay, so another thing that we can use, and this is using our little fine tool, so I'm going to try, and we can bring just a little bit of that out. We can use it to move our inks around. If you're doing some things such as maybe you wanted to landscape where you're wanting to use precise lines, these little tools are great. Now I'm just noticing I haven't used the metallic before, so the metallic's actually a little bit harder to actually move around because it's almost breaking off into little sheets of gold. So I'm going to continue with this without talking over. I'm just going to create a few images here, and then we're going to use this for a project. I'm going to allow this to dry for a while. I'm going to let it dry overnight. You can hear those trains going off in the background. The Yopo paper, I can use the heat gun and that will dry it nicely, but it will be still a little bit tacky. So I'm going to allow this overnight. So I'm actually going to come in with a couple of pens to actually do a little bit of doodling, and we're going to make these into some little bookmarks. So I'll be back soon. Now I've got a little sample pack of Yopo paper. So what I want to do to start with is just test and show you the way that different pens will actually react to the Yopo paper. Because we want something on, I'm going to be doodling over the top of the ink, so I just want to make sure that when I put it down, it's nice and dark. So that's the Sharpie. This is our fluid ball. I just want to see how well, once I've let it dry, to then if it actually smudges or not. It's another thick one. I've got my Posca pens. So yes, if anyone asks, I do like pens. I have got a huge range of pens. Now this is a Japanese zebra pen. There's a different range of those with different nibs. I love working with the zebra inks. We've got a marabou. I'm just trying to put those in order so I know where. We've got the Staedtler. Don't think the Staedtler's going to work, it's already starting to lift there. And this is the Pigma. I think that is the same. And this is basically just another Pentel. It's from Pentel, just a gel pen. I'm finding that hard to actually write on the surface to start with. And this is a glaze gel pen. Goes over nicely, but it is already starting to lift there. And this is just a simple art line pen. Now this is a Mujo pen. I love these pens for my doodling. Goes okay. And this is a uni pen. I love these pens also for doodling. So I'm just going to let that dry a little bit more. Just put a bit of heat there. So we'll see the Sharpie, it smudges a bit. The fluid ball smudges a lot. A Posca. Okay, so Posca I want. Our zebra, it smudges a bit. That's yeah, okay. Okay, this Nice little film. So Marabou does smudge as well, art line. Just test that one again, because I think it might have just been the residual from the other one, so that might be a goer. Okay, our Stolon. Very smudgy. Okay. Pigma, very smudgy. Our Bulb, yep. Our Gel. That's actually okay. Oh, my favourite pen, not so fine. And that's a big smudge. So just test on this one again. There's a little bit of smudging, so it's a reasonable sort of one. Okay, so I've got 2 pens I'm pretty happy with. Doing this a little bit bigger, just to double sure. Dry these off again. I said that art line was reasonable, so we might do some lines there. So I'm impressed with that line. Wasn't quite sure if that was actually going to work. That Posca is definitely a stays. Okay, so I've got 3 pens that I'll be able to work with. Okay, so this has been totally dried. Because I'm going to be doing a little bit of doodling on this, what I want to do is just create a little bit more dimension. So I've put a little bit of my alcohol ink in that fine dropper, and I can actually just put a couple of little dots around. You can see that they're picking up the ink there. What I want to do is I'm going to create a bit of negative space, just take those dots off. So I've got something else there. So I'm going to use my fine dropper, and I'm just going to come in and just put a couple of little dots into my artwork, and it is lifting that ink up slightly. So you can see there, I've just added just a little bit more there. I like using dots, lines in my doodling, so I'll just add just a little bit more. So I'm going to do a little bit more of that around the place. So once again, these are just ideas that I'm putting down on the page. It makes no sense at the moment. I have no huge plan to where I'm going to go, but just putting down images that from there I should be able to create something a little bit different. Lots of people have plans, they know exactly where they're going, but I end up going half the time just by the flow, unless I'm actually doing something from a actual picture where I'm doing something a bit more realistic. But a lot of my doodling work, it's just hit and miss sometimes. So I look forward to seeing some of your work on our Facebook page that's run by 2 sisters. So if you remember the art cart and you haven't joined yet, go on to Tanya's 2 sisters art Facebook page, and I'll give you details how to get into that closed group. It doesn't lift as well off that metallic, but that's okay. We might use some Posca pen in white or other colours just to give a bit more detail. Give it like a water glass sort of feature. Few images coming through there. I'm happy with that. I'll speed this next part up.